Dan Khan is there. Dan, nice to see you. Look, loads of talk about Fernandes. Is he there with the rest of the players?
Yeah, he absolutely is, Pete, and welcome to Carrington. Let me just step aside so we can watch some Manchester United training. And good morning, first of all, as well to Jamie, too. And we can watch Michael Carrick's side go through their paces here as they warm up ahead of their training session here at Carrington. Bruno Fernandes leading the group, as you can see there. And I think it's not just Michael Carrick that we have to talk about, Jamie. It's also the backroom staff like Steve Holland. And it is a valid question. I also have another point with this. When we talk about Michael Carrick, is he a long-term solution at the club? Would we be talking about it differently, though, if we weren't talking about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in the background? You know, his term having been a caretaker, then the head coach. I mean, he did lead United second, but I just wonder if that hadn't happened, or that period in United's history hadn't happened. That seems to be what the conversation with Michael Carrick right now is caveated by, is, well, what happened with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? We don't want that to happen again. But it's very different. And also, Michael Carrick, the performances are very different. I remember that trademark win against PSG, for example, in the Champions League that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer essentially got the job off of, really, permanently. They were playing backs to the wall sometimes, you know, counter-attacking football. Michael Carrick has shown, especially in periods in that Manchester City and Arsenal game, they were very comfortable on the ball. They were showing a lot of quality. They were showing freedom, creativity. Even in the Fulham game, maybe it didn't always pay off, but I haven't seen a Manchester United team play like this in a very, very long time. So, look, I think, do Manchester United fans want Carrick? I think the better question is, does he deserve an equal opportunity to the likes of Thomas Tuchel and the rest who could be considered in the summer? I think that is the question. That's what I really believe. If Michael Carrick and his staff show that before the end of the season, then he absolutely will be deserving of that.
Dan, it's really interesting watching the cameraman now, just following Carrick. He's very hands-on, which I love to see. You know, he is coaching this team. He's very hands-on. He's giving information. You know, this is just the start of the training session. Normally, I would have thought Steve Holland, Johnny Evans, Jonathan Woodgate would take this, but Michael Carrick, the manager, is right in the thick of it. He's making, you know, he's getting the team going. He's getting them ticking. I love to see this.
Yeah, absolutely, Jamie. I've been to a lot of these training sessions throughout the season and under Ruben Amorim ahead of the season. You'll see a lot of movement here. But what impresses me the most, you're right to mention Michael Carrick in terms of leading the session, but it's him, Jonathan Woodgate, Steve Holland, even Johnny Evans, Travis Binion, all part of this staff. They work in unison, leading the sessions. I mean, they have, I know, a good chat beforehand. And I know this sounds quite simple, and you probably think this happens at all different football clubs. But I've been told the sessions have been shorter, more intense than perhaps what they were under Ruben Amorim. There's more individual training for some of these players as well. And I think that has gone down particularly well with these players, Jamie. I mean, you can tell me more, but considering they have quite empty weeks at the moment, not being in competitions, they seem to be trying to fit a lot more in a short space of time, which enables the players to maybe have a bit more freedom away from Carrington, but also they're seemingly getting a lot out of it, and we're seeing that on the pitch as well.
Yeah, I think you can tell from the start of a training session whether the players are on it. You know, whether it's flat, whether it's, you know, like players not really bothered. You know, simple passing drill. You can see Carrick is he's vocal. He's getting them going early doors. You know, people sprinting straight from the first start of the session. It's good to see. You know, it's good to see the standard. You want it. That's how you want it. Every training session, we go out, we start, and there's no messing about. Get straight into the session and let's crack on. And I think that's why you've seen a different Man United.
Pete, it's interesting what Wayne Rooney said, and really the narrative around Bruno Fernandes right now being the best player in the Premier League. I actually put the question to Michael Carrick February 7th after they beat Tottenham Hotspur at the beginning of February, and he even said then that he agreed Bruno Fernandes was playing as one of the best players in the league even then. And you look at the stats, of course, 16 assists now in the Premier League, the most of any Manchester United player in a single season in the Premier League era, beating David Beckham's record on the weekend, but also leading the league in those numbers as well. He's only 4 away from Thierry Henry and Kevin De Bruyne's all-time Premier League assist record in a single season at 20 as well. And the only thing I would say as well, P and Jamie, is you also have to consider with Bruno Fernandes this season, 7 of these 16 assists came in the first half of the season when he was playing in a deeper role under Ruben Amorim as well. So that just shows his adaptability and just his overall quality. I don't know what does.
Dan, I've got to ask you, obviously, look, everyone's talking about Bruno Fernandes. It helps, though, that they're playing one game a week right now. And then, look, Carrick's done a great job, but he's got a fresh team.
Yeah, he absolutely does, Jamie. But I think, you could argue that it's the same team that maybe underperformed in the first part of the season against Ruben Amorim. And, yes, they don't have as many games, but I don't know if you would agree. I think they can also be challenges when they've had gaps of 11, 12 days between games, and maybe those players not being as fresh, as being as match sharp between that, and only having training sessions between. But what I would say is, in this run of games, they've played incredibly difficult teams when you consider. I mean, we spoke just a month ago, Jamie, at a training session after the wins against Arsenal and Manchester City. So I think you have to appreciate what this coaching staff and what Michael Carrick has been able to achieve with this group of players. Yes, they invested heavily last summer, but that has to be down to really good recruitment. I mean, you look at the improvement goal scoring wise, Benjamin Šeško, Brian Mbeumo, Mateus Cunha, all really showing the value of their signings, but also Senna Lomans in goal, who was largely unproven at this level. He's now Manchester United's number one quite significantly, I think, after some really impressive performances too.
Okay. Dan, thanks so much for that, mate. We appreciate you bringing us those live shots of Manchester United's training and Bruno Fernandes, which is a big debate after Wayne Rooney said, of course, that he has been the best player in the Premier League this season.
Well, everyone's happy, and the fun thing they did say is that the lads are working hard. They're all pulling together. I think even Michael said it. Xerxes' reaction to Sesko scoring and the togetherness that they've got at the moment is great to see, and just there now watching them, it's bringing back some memories. But now it's just great to see.
How much do you want to get out on the pitch and train with them?
Michael just said I haven't got my boots. Oh, I'd love to. Obviously, probably couldn't keep up with these anymore, but no, I'd love to be just put my boots on and have just one last session with them. Yeah.
I mean, they are looking fit. They're looking well at the moment. We've largely got a fit squad. Obviously, we're sad to be without Patrick Dorgu, who scored the goal of the month and was player of the month for January. Matthias de Ligt still not training with the group at the moment. Hopefully he won't be far off, but generally Michael's had a good fit squad to choose from, which obviously is going to help.
Yeah, he has. Like I think you mentioned there, like Patrick, we seen him in the building a minute ago, and unfortunate for him because obviously he was flying, but Cunha, obviously he scored the winner at Arsenal. He comes into the team at the weekend. He scored another great goal. So listen, there's players now that'll be on the bench that'll be itching for a chance, itching for the moment. And listen, while the team's flying, they know they've got to be patient, and when they do get a chance or they do get to come off the bench, they've got to try and make an impact. And we've got a lot of young lads here as well that we can see that are training and trying to push their way through as well.
Yeah, and certainly the young lads, getting the academy lads in the group is great for their development, isn't it? So they can see just how the first teamers train and the standard to which they have to get to force their way into Michael Carrick's plans. Yeah,
and listen, I remember this like it was yesterday, coming over to train with the first team and trying to impress every day. Whether you're in the gym, whether you're on the grass, whether you're travelling, you've got to, show the manager that you're doing everything you can. But listen, it's just great for these lads to train with Casemiro's, Bruno's, all these top players, Cunha's, and just learn from them and try and pick their brains and see all their good habits and see if you can put their good habits into your game.
Yeah, as an academy player coming through yourself, you must have learned so much when having the opportunity to train with that first team. You were training with some unbelievable players as well. Yeah,
listen, it was tough. Rio, Patrice, they demanded a lot of everyone. Gary Neville, Scholes, Giggsy, they didn't let up.
It's not as bad as the players you're in.
And then you got Wazza signed for us. It was like, he's pretty much the same age as me, but at that point, it was like he was 10 years older than me because he was just a big, strong, big boy. But no, listen, I learned a lot from them. You know what? We knew about the quality, but I think it was the mentality. I think that I learned from them. Every day winning, whether it was possession, whether it was box to box like we can see at the games, it was everything. You had to win and you had to give your best to try and beat each other.